Hi, my name is Judie VanKooiman, and you're watching Life's Issue. July's show is about Project Kompass, and my guests are Ronnie, Hoey, and David Aldrich. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Ronnie, I'm going to start with you. What is your title?
Hi, I am Executive Director and co-founder of Project Kompass.
Okay. And what is your professional background?
Oh boy, I started very young in semiconductors as office administration, worked my way up through the organization, worked for a couple of pharmaceutical companies as far as New Jersey, some local as program management, and then I decided to give a shot at entrepreneurship, so I opened a restaurant. Did that for a few years, and shortly after, Dave and I reconnected and decided to work together and find a way to pay it forward, and we ventured into the nonprofit world.
Awesome. That's great. And why did you want to get involved with Project Kompass?
Well, it took a little bit of groundwork for us to actually even come up with the idea of Project Kompass. We wanted to find a way in which we could take sort of our life experiences, what we've learned basically, and share that with someone else, and our successes, of course. And we started doing lots of research, especially in the local area, and how can we apply our passion and how can we apply our knowledge and our experience to someone or something else. And after, attending some homeless meetings in the local area, Dave and I sat down, we started, scoping out a business plan and a mission and a cause, and we came up with Project Kompass. And we thought that we would benefit a lot of young people by assisting with the organization, yeah.
That's great. And Dave, what is your title?
So I am chairman of the board and the other co-founder.
Okay, great. And what is your professional background?
So I spent over 25 years in technology, semiconductors, wireless, mobile, and worked my way up to a point where I was a general manager and then a CEO of a public company called Alpha Industries right here in Massachusetts. We then founded a company or formed a company called Skyworks Solutions and created a large mobile semiconductor business and things like smartphones, routers, and so on. And I did that until about 3 years ago when I stepped down, and I've been doing more work in philanthropy and helping other small companies.
Okay. And why did you want to start Project Kompass?
Well, I think as Ronnie suggested, there were a lot of thoughts that went through my mind as I was beginning to sort of unravel the grind of day-to-day technology, lots and lots of travel, up to 50% some of the time. And well, as I moved along in my career towards the end, it became a little bit less fulfilling, frankly. I thought that there had to be a way to pay back some of the blessings that I had had and the successes that my colleagues and friends and I had enjoyed. And landed at a place where I said, look, it's time for me at this stage of my life to give back. And that caused us to start to look at different things. I was participated at the board level on other nonprofits, learned a lot about it, and kind of, I guess our egos were big enough to say, you know what, we could do this better. We could do it closer to home. We could find a real unserved need. And that led us down the path of say, okay, what is the area that is not getting fulfilled today, which ultimately led us to Project Kompass.
Exactly. There's a reason for everything.
You're right.
And Ronnie, what are the 2 requirements that you had to start?
Well, I think the most important to both of us is we wanted to keep it local to our location. I actually was born and raised in Lowell, and we felt it was important. There was definitely a need in the area, but we felt it was important to stake claim in the general area before we start setting up programming and building out our homes. And then secondly, it was really important to us that we don't follow status quo. We wanted to be different. What does that mean? It meant a lot of research. It meant what does being different mean to the homeless population, especially to the youth. And we wanted to incorporate more of a holistic approach. Treat everyone as an individual, not as a checklist. And make sure that we incorporated just lots of flexibility into our programming.
Great. And why did you want to change the model?
Again, I think we spent plenty of time sort of meeting with other agencies and local organizations, as well as a lot of young people themselves. We asked a lot of questions. And I think we found that oftentimes you didn't fit into the checkbox. And we decided we wanted to take that approach where we get to know that person, we support that person, we create more of an individualized program for them, with the ability of making decisions fast. So we don't waste a lot of time. Even when it comes to bringing in a young person, we do the background check really quick. We make sure that we know what we're getting involved with. And so it allows us, complete flexibility of the programming. We can modify and enhance as needed. We do often, based on, again, who's coming into the program and into the homes.
Okay, and what was it changed to?
I would have to say probably more of an individualized
Right.
approach. We've kind of thrown away those very strict guidelines. We do adhere to sort of what classifies a person as homeless, so we adhere to all of that. But if they're without a certain documentation, or if they don't have an address to prove that they're from the area, we're still pretty flexible and adaptable. But I think, taking this holistic approach, really looking at the individual, getting to know them, a lot of hands-on. We actually spend 7 days a week with them, so it's not your typical case management session where you're, getting together for 15 or 20 minutes. We get to know these young people. Sometimes it's 2, 3, 4 hours where they just need to open up. And oftentimes that leads us to modifying their short and long-term goals, or modifying what they thought they wanted, because they've been allowed time to sort of settle in, feel safe, feel very secure in their environment, and have the opportunity to think about what it is that they want. So I think taking that approach and sort of allowing them to lead the way, we encourage, we inspire, we support, but they're ultimately responsible for their choices.
That's good. And what are your core values?
I think, most important, together with, with the board of directors, with our staff, with our donors, to continue with the flexibility and always look at the individual, continue building out our program and being adaptable to sort of our surroundings or what's going on in their lives, our lives, and so forth. So I think that's probably most important.
Yeah, and we are, so we're privately funded, so we don't have to comply necessarily with HUD guidelines for definitions of homelessness and so on. So we have a great deal of flexibility, and so our values, as Ronnie said, are, we look at individuals not as a collection of their actions, but as inherently good. And while sometimes their actions may be frustrating, or they may have dealt with trauma in their lives that brought them to this point, we try to take, as you said, a holistic approach and really get to know the individual, understand what brought them to this place, and try to help them heal and help them gain the resources and the confidence that they can move on in their life in a more productive manner, but with complete flexibility. And we are flexible.
Yeah.
We are really changing every time we think we've nailed down the programming model, we change it because circumstances have changed,
Yeah.
or the individual's needs have changed.
Right.
So I think those are our values:
That's a good
flexibility,
thing. Yeah.
and a real focus on the needs of the individual, not the program or the institution.
Okay. And can you please tell us about the path to independent living?
Sure. So the path to independent living is really, we started out by talking about being flexible, calling it a transition program. It really isn't. It's a transformational program. But we encounter an individual who is homeless or housing insecure, living in a oftentimes quite dangerous, unsettling situation. Stay for up to 18 to 24 months. They often don't, but they can. And we, between the resources that we have with our staff and the program we've developed, and a collaboration with a number of local agencies and institutions, we're able to create a plan and with milestones. And although we're flexible, they have a plan. They have to work or go to school 32 hours a week. They have to commit to community service. And we hold them accountable to that. And they learn financial literacy, budgeting, health and wellness. And they come out not as a transition to another homeless situation or a shelter. Our goal is that they come out with the skills, the resources, the financing to be permanently independent. Doesn't always work out that way, but that transition program is really a transformation program to becoming permanently independent.
Okay, great. And what is the road to new beginnings?
So the Road to New Beginnings is really a relatively new program for us. We acquired a second large facility, we renovated it, and it is for moms and babies. So prenatal, postnatal care, the same kind of programming that I talked about in the transition program or the transformation program would apply here. But more importantly, it's taking a housing insecure or a homeless young woman who either has recently had a baby, maybe pregnant, and they come in and we wrap services around them that allow them to get comfortable, calm with their situation, and work towards what now is a really difficult environment in our society with the cost of daycare and skyrocketing costs of housing, to be able to come in a nurturing environment and help them deal with the stress and anxiety of the unknown, being a new mom, a young, new homeless mom, or housing insecure mom. So we're working very hard on that program. It's the newest program, but it is, I almost hate to say it, business is very good because there's a big need out there.
Yeah.
And with the Nurture the Future, not Nurture the Future, my apologies, the Road to New Beginnings, we've sort of incorporated true family values. So we're trying to get them to come together several times a week to have family dinner, to sort of collectively make sure that the community refrigerator is full. You know, not just think about yourselves or the child, but think about your basically your family. And help each other out, support each other. So a mom who has a child of 15 months can certainly assist our newest mom of only 3 weeks. And so share those experiences. It takes a little while for anyone who comes to us to get that level of comfort because of the trauma or because of, previous experiences. It takes, we're seeing like 30 days. They settle down within 30 days and then we get to see that real person. But within that time, they quickly embrace the support from not only staff, board members, volunteers, but from each other. And they're starting to rely on each other, And it goes without saying, though, because in any family, there's always drama. So someone is not doing their house chores or someone is not taking out the trash. And so those are petty issues that we deal with as a whole. But to see these young adults truly coming together and just, taking advantage of this amazing opportunity without taking advantage of us, it's very promising to see what's going to happen with them next.
That's cool. And what is the highway to success?
Oh gosh. So with the rising cost of let's just start with gasoline, the difficulties of not only adults but young adults and young people who have been homeless, to keep up with the cost of cars and automobile insurance and gasolines and so forth, getting to and from work, we found that a lot of our residents were spending more money on Lyft rides and Uber rides. So Dave and I decided that we have to assist at some level. We can't support every ride or every request. But on average, across the board, we're probably averaging 3 to 5 rides per resident per week. And that's only one vehicle and one person doing the driving at this point, plus her other job, right, within PK. But it's promising. We also assist through that program. We try to help those who don't have their permits. Let's do some in-house workshops, right? How do we train and study to get our driver's permit? We encourage them, to go and get your license, and we're more than willing to, either set them up with a volunteer for driving lessons. They may go to a local school. Potentially we could help. I've tried that a few times, but I had to stop. I was too nervous. But it's it's a pretty good program, which also often leads us to being able to find really good deals on vehicles for those who have saved the money and are ready to take on that responsibility.
And we make sure they're safe, that the vehicles are safe. We have an area mechanic who's wonderful with our residents.
Yeah.
And as you know, the public transportation isn't adequate to get folks to these jobs or to their doctor's appointments or interviews, so we provide that service, and it's always booked out. We have a transportation manager who does that, and she's terrific. And
Nice.
we could
Good.
do more there, but we do as much as we can.
Yeah, exactly. And Ronnie, let's talk about the road you traveled. How many homes and how many programs is there?
Wow. So to date, we have 2 homes. We have technically 2 programs, so we're setting up different programs at different homes. We became 501c in early 2020, January 2020. We acquired our first home spring of 2020 during COVID. So it was an interesting time for us because we were new to this and we were learning, and then we just stopped. But we renovated and got through that. And, in the future, we're hoping to add to that.
Great. And how many residents to date?
To date, we have successfully assisted 37 residents. And interesting, we are full, as Dave said. It's wonderful. However, worrisome at the same time, right? But we are currently full, and a lot of our residents who have moved forward for personal reasons or successful reasons, or some of them may have gone into a different program that was more suitable to their needs. We actively assist, I would probably say anywhere from 6 to 10 who have left. We continue to follow them, continue to support them as needed.
Okay. And how long is the average stay?
If I had to sort of estimate average stay right now, I would say probably 10 months. But as Dave said, we say up to 18 months, but we have a young adult who's been with us now going on 17 months because of the economy, because of the rental market and lack of affordable housing. She's not ready. She's not ready, and we're not willing to allow any of our residents to have to leave because of a time constraint. Right? What are their options?
Nobody leaves without having a secure place to go. It may be a different program if, as it turns out, they have a different set of needs than what our capability is. But nobody comes through us who's homeless leaves homeless, ever, not one time.
And we've had a couple residents so far come back.
Yeah.
And, it was, they thought they were ready. They weren't quite ready. They need a little bit more support. And we are completely open to that if, of course, we have the space.
Right.
And, they're going to recommit to the program.
And Massachusetts is one of the worst areas where the gap between even, an entry-level, well-paid entry-level person, because our folks do pretty well in the employment market once they get through whatever it is, we need training and so on and so forth, job-seeking skills. But that gap between affordability of an apartment of any type and what you can afford if you make even a high hourly wage, for example, is growing. So it's a real challenge to get people slotted into something that they can sustainably afford, and that bar is getting higher, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And how many private bedrooms is there?
I'm going to take this one because Dave's a number guy and he multiplies, the number of rooms often. So in North Chelmsford, we can actually privately house 8 residents. We also have set up space for sort of short-term emergency stay for 2. It's a shared space. And then over in Lowell, we have 7 very large-size rooms to accommodate mom and baby.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
And how many active volunteers do you have?
Wow, so interesting. We're seeing a change in our sort of number of volunteers at this point. When we were going through renovation, I would say up to like 70, maybe more. So depending on the project, majority of the homes that were renovated, it was all done by volunteers with the exception of like floor installation. But everything was done by volunteers. So we're seeing a flip now because people want to now start volunteering. They want to help with the babies and so forth. So I would say, anywhere between, 50 and 90 that we could actually touch base with.
Good.
With regards to volunteers, we're in the process, actually, one of our volunteers is creating an interactive calendar, which will be posted to our website. We're shooting for August, where you can sign up and volunteer for different opportunities of maybe cooking or sitting, with a child, assisting mom, maybe with some transportation needs. So we're building that out right now.
Nice. Good. And can you please tell us some history dates with Project Kompass?
So again, I think I mentioned earlier, we incorporated early 2020, got our first home. During renovations, we actually came across a family in need. So even though we don't do full family support, we brought a family of 4 in that stayed with us for 11 months, which is now our office space. We converted once they moved out. Renovations, took a little bit.
Yeah, 6 months maybe.
Yeah, November 2020, I think we brought in our first resident, and it's kind of been nonstop. Right after that, I think sort of Dave inquired about a second home. We started renovating once again. And that sort of brings us to where we are today. And we have a very aggressive growth plan. Not anything that we're really willing to publicly share at this time. We know what we want to do. We want to complete that holistic approach, right? Okay, so that's great. So how can we get them into that apartment? What can we do next? Or how can we create, an area of sort of meditation for them, or, just an escape from reality where they can grow a little bit more and get to know, more about themselves and continue on that healing process. So we do have a great growth plan. You have anything to say to that?
No, I think it's one of the advantages of coming out of a corporate environment, a corporate world, which we both did, and our other board members have, the people we know, colleagues we've had in companies, successful people, is that we're applying more of some of the urgency and discipline of what you see in the public domain to a nonprofit. So if you think about it, a little over a year and a half, we created a 501c3, we bought 2 homes, we paid for the homes, we renovated the homes, we created programming, we filled them. 3 fairly aggressive programs, and we did it in a year and a half. And that's not something that most organizations can boast. And it's not a bragging right, but we're applying budgetary discipline and timeline discipline that I've found very successful in the public domain. We're applying it to nonprofit. We're able to move in an agile way very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. And Dave, what is your road to new beginnings?
So the road to new beginnings is the parenting program. So that is where, again, young women are able to come, settle in, and take advantage of the various programming options that we have so that they can successfully, overcome the anxiety of being a new mom, learn the skills that they need in a comfortable environment with people supporting them, and then do the same thing that we do in our transition program, which is we provide life skills and training and financial literacy and whatever it takes, so that when they leave, they're confident moms, they're a supporting family, and we've done so in a nurturing environment. And that's our newest program.
Okay, great. And what can someone's dollars do for Project Kompass?
Well, I think that's, if you think about it the way we do, it's like a pyramid, right? When you can help an individual transform from sort of this trauma-induced state of homelessness and the anxiety that comes with that, and all what life may have thrown at these folks that led them to this place. And if you can help someone transition to a point where they're truly confident and independent, that affects generations. So what money can do for us, it can help us expand our programming, expand our capacity to help more people, to get people off the street and into a nurturing, warm, comfortable environment. And with kind of the love and support that we think we provide, it's transformational. So whether it's providing more transportation opportunities, more transitional opportunities for homeless young single people, or whether it's helping a family become a successful family unit with confidence, that's what your money will do.
Okay. And Ronnie, do you do fundraisers?
Uh, to date, we have not. So we successfully scheduled our first spring scavenger hunt, and then unfortunately, our home got hit with COVID, and that traveled pretty quickly. And so our rescheduled date was supposed to take place in July, but we found that we weren't getting the response. So we are actively working on some fall fundraisers and a larger event to assist. And fortunately enough, we have actually a volunteer who is going to take that lead and try to put that together for us. So we will be doing fundraisers. We will be sharing it through social media and, with all our friends and family and so forth. And I believe it will be a success.
Yeah, but we have a very active Instagram page, Facegram page. You can find us on projectkompass.org. Lots of volunteer opportunities. We try to have fun with it and show our residents interacting in a fun way. We have to respect their privacy, but it's a very interactive and supportive organization, and any of your viewers can get on and see what we're all about. We're pretty excited. I hope it comes through in our social media activities.
Yeah, we encourage all of our young adults that come to us, try something once if you have an opportunity. And so Dave and I, as well as the rest of our staff, we're very supportive of all of our community partners. They do so much for us, so in return, we will attend their events. And more often than none, we open that up to all of our residents, and so they get all dressed up. And just the amount of support we get from our sort of PK supporters. They'll drop off gowns for the girls and shoes, and people have come over and done their makeup and hair, and it's just such beautiful opportunities for them to be exposed to something different.
Yeah, and the other end of the spectrum is Ronnie and some of our residents got out with our T-shirts on and cleaned along the highways near our house and took bags and volunteered their time that way. So, we do really encourage, in fact, indeed require community service from our residents.
Nice. And Ronnie, if anyone would like more information about Project Kompass, can you give us your contact info?
Sure. So it's Ronnie at projectkompass.org. We are on Facebook, as Dave said. Information could be also sent directly to info@projectkompass.org or via Instagram.
Okay, great. I'm sorry, but that's all the time that we have. Thank you both for all that you do for those in need. I'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions. Please send them to lifeissuestv@gmail.com. And remember, live each day to the fullest and celebrate life.